As trucks, the F-150s are here. Explorers, Expeditions, and a huge selection of Bronco.
Two-hand rip, a brilliant pass from De'Aaron Fox.
KHTKAM Sacramento, KYMX HD2 Sacramento.
Sactown Sports.
Let's go, baby!
It's time for the Return of the Empire podcast. 1 hour of all things red and gold. Return of the Empire. Here are your hosts, Sactown Sports 49ers insider Amil Fragoso and Nate Littlefield.
Yes, sir. Back again. Return of the Empire. Amil Fragoso, Nate Littlefield. As always, joining you Tuesday, 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. Kyle Ledbetter on the 1 2s behind us, joining us again for another week. Kyle, welcome back, buddy.
Hello.
How was your day?
My day's going wonderful. I am happy to be here, you guys.
I'm happy to have you here. Nate, how are you doing?
Like a 3.5.
Aw, someone's still salty.
It's not even that. It's just there's so much going on. I want the 49ers to win. The Kings don't want to win. The Kings don't want to even look halfway decent. I'm just sad about my sports teams.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
So we're going to see how this goes today, I guess.
It's going to be an interesting show. Look, the Niners were on a bye last week, week 9, obviously, coming off into week 10. And you would think not a lot of good can happen for the Niners coming off the bye week. Well, they made some moves, and some things did happen in their favor, Nate. So there's a little bit of optimism. You got to look a little glass half full today, a little bit, right? Come on.
Yeah, I mean, okay, so I'm trying not to get my hopes up too much. I'm excited about this Chase Young thing. I just mentioned it in the in the crosstalk, but it's like there was already so many stars all over.
Yeah.
We're adding another one to the team.
Yes.
This guy, very talented, played with Nick Bosa for about half a season.
Mm-hmm. More than that.
More than that?
About a season and a half, actually.
Season and a half?
Yes.
Really?
They totaled like 28 sacks in 2 seasons, I believe.
Okay. Well, they stayed here on the bye. Nick Bosa stayed with Chase Young during the bye.
Yep.
To kind of run him through how the defense works, through plays, all that stuff, to kind of prep him and get him ready. It's probably good for Bosa too.
Little crash course.
Who had a holdout. You know, obviously, we all know about
that. Was
this.
months ago.
That was months ago, and I still think there's a hangover from it.
Really?
Yes, I do.
Wow.
Here we are. This Niners team, if they don't win against the Jaguars, they will have gone 5 weeks, almost a month and a half, without winning a single game.
That is true, but that is going to be in the third segment. Then we got to do a little bit of recapping first before we do a little previewing. And we got to recap week 9, which is the bye week for the Niners, and a lot of weird football. But one of the good things that happened for the Niners, all other NFC West teams lost.
Yeah.
The Rams, the Cardinals, because they're not good, and the Seattle Seahawks got annihilated by the Baltimore Ravens, which is their biggest test in the NFC West. And the Niners, without playing a game, are now tied for atop the NFC West at 5-3. That's something. That's good news.
No, that is something. It's nice.
Yeah,
it's nice. I think the worry about the Rams should be pretty much fading entirely. Just the Stafford injury looks pretty bad.
You're not a Carson Wentz guy?
I just don't know if it's going to work.
Carson Wentz is a Ram?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
Today.
Breaking news.
Look at you, Kyle.
Yeah. Usually, Kyle, you got the news locked down.
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, McVay, no doubt, is a great host. Oh.
Oh, okay, that was in your ear. But for the people listening who might not have heard, Carson Wentz is now a Ram.
Yes, he is.
Oh, that was in my ear. Wow, dude.
That threw me off.
Oh man. Okay, let's get this train back on the tracks. Sean McVay, great coach. You can't deny that, even if you hate him. I don't even really hate him that much.
No, he's a good guy.
I don't know if he's a good guy. I'm not going to say that.
I think he's a nice
Amil
person.
can say that.
He's a nice person. I'm not saying the Rams are a good team. Whatever. I'm saying Sean McVay's a good guy.
Aaron Donald's not. I'll say that.
Okay.
Confidently.
That's fair.
Aaron Donald.
Calling him out.
No, he'll kill me. Anyways, I think Carson Wentz on the Rams has potential to be something.
Yes.
I'm not expecting it to be anything. I don't think Rams fans should be. Why did they do it? Just for a shot to stick around.
Stafford's hurt. That's why. Because Stafford's got that thumb injury.
Yeah, to stay relevant. Hopefully, maybe sneak into the playoffs. I don't think they will. I'm not worried about it.
You should be worried about Seattle. That's a team you should be worried about.
Not worried about the Cardinals. They're done.
For obvious reasons.
Kyler looks like he might come back this week.
It's going to be this week. Yeah, Kyler's back this week.
So, whatever. That's good for them.
Correct, Kyle, our resident Cardinals guy?
Oh, yeah.
Kyler Murray is starting this week against the Falcons.
Good to see. What is it? I think almost a year from when he tore his ACL.
Week 13 last year was when he tore his ACL.
I think it's like 48 weeks or something.
Wow. Good for Kyler.
49 weeks.
I wish him the best.
Yes. I wish him the best as well. The Seahawks, the stupid, dumb Seahawks.
Oh, wow.
Where do we go with them? They lost. They got beat up really bad against the Baltimore Ravens, who are now, I believe, like third or fourth in Super Bowl favorites.
And
behind the Niners,
the best
and Eagles.
team in the AFC, I believe.
They're tied for best record in
With
the AFC,
Chiefs.
but all the nerd stats support that they're the best team in the league.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. Look, they annihilated them, dude. I mean, it was brutal.
So that was nice. One bird to beat up another bird. I was happy for that. You know, the Niners take on Baltimore here in about 5 weeks after
on Christmas night.
Yeah, right after Niners got Seahawks, Eagles, Seahawks, and then Baltimore right after that.
I believe you're correct. Yes.
Yeah. So lots of dirty birds in there.
A lot of birds.
Not fans of birds.
A lot of tough birds.
Yeah, a lot of tough birds, unfortunately. But the Seahawks did lose. They lost. They're, a half game behind the Niners in the standings now, which is fine. I mean, the Niners, honestly, I feel like they don't deserve to be in first. Just a 3-game skid like that is so brutal.
Yeah, but that's in the past, though, right? Right?
The past is now. The past is the future.
Okay, Nate.
Well, because the record is so important. Your record is so important.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, the Eagles, obviously not in our division, but in our conference,
yes,
are on the sure track to get that 1 seed. And honestly, I miss that the 2 seed used to be a bye.
Yeah.
I wish that was still a possibility.
We all do.
It's not, because now it's kind of a runaway for the Eagles, and to get that seed, I think, their schedule does get tougher, and they are in a tough division. Oh, well, maybe not with Daniel Jones out. I don't know.
Well, they still got Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. They're playing pretty well.
Yeah, and they took him to the end of the game.
And they should have beat him, frankly, if not for some late game errors, Mike McCarthy.
If we're going to talk about that real briefly, I definitely blame Dak for that loss.
Really?
He looked okay. So he did a really good job for the most part.
The
2-point conversion.
Yeah.
That was wild that he didn't dive in or that is a very silly mistake.
I don't know. Dak might be seeing ghosts from when he got hurt all those years ago.
Maybe.
It changes you. Look, Derek Carr was never the same after he broke his leg. He was never the same.
But the problem more with Dak is that he's throwing more interceptions than he ever has before. Which
didn't Dak say he's going to throw less than 10 interceptions this year?
Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. But he's still been a top 12 quarterback,
which is kind of all you need sometimes.
Quarterback play this year has been mediocre.
Yeah, to a degree, it has.
As a whole, it's been not up to par for what the NFL wants. The NFL wants 10,000 touchdowns a week.
And yet Dak might end up being a Pro Bowler in the NFC because it's like Jared Goff and Jalen Hurts and no one else.
So Dak's got 5 picks, so he's halfway there.
Baker Mayfield?
They're going to give it to Brock Purdy before Baker Mayfield.
Maybe you're right.
Baker's looked pretty good.
Yeah, he has.
Niners got him too coming up.
Yeah, they do. That's a game they kind of have to, and we'll get to that. But we got to talk Chase Young.
Yeah, we got to talk Chase Young.
We had talked a little bit last week at the deadline, but we got to talk a little bit more because Chase Young had his first practice yesterday. I was there.
Yeah.
As well as he had his first media session. I was there. Got all that coverage.
I want to know personally. I want to know how he looked in practice and how Deebo Samuel looked in practice and what's going on with Trent Williams. That's 3 questions I asked you. That's a lot to ask.
Where should I start?
But I need to know. I shouldn't have interrupted. You should start with Chase Young.
Okay, I will start with Chase Young.
Yes.
All right. Chase Young, in terms of how he looked in practice, explosive. Like, we asked Randy Gregory after practice, and we said, like, what's one thing about Chase Young that stands out? He goes, everything. Everything stands out. His length, his size, his speed, his quickness, his technique, everything. Chase Young is a former number 2 overall player pick from Ohio State for a reason. He's Nick Bosa's running mate for a reason. Those guys speak the same language, like he said in the presser. And I think him playing alongside Nick Bosa is only going to help him. Even in the first practice, working with defensive line coach Chris Kasarik, you could see him learning stuff on the fly and learning hand technique and placement. Just overall Niners, ways on the fly with Nick Bosa talking to him and teaching him that stuff. And he really said something really standoutish when we were talking to him. He said, from the moment I got in here, I could tell that it was something different here. The culture was different. The vibe was different. He goes, it's good to be a part of a winning organization. It could be part of a team full of winners. And that's what the Niners are. They're a team expected to win, unlike the team he left, which is the Washington Commanders.
Yes, they are expected to win, and they're not. So
see,
I hope Chase Young
this is a glass half empty thing, Nate.
Yeah.
Come on.
What do you want me to do?
Be a little bit optimistic. You got Chase Young on the team.
I'm optimistic, but it's so hard when you see a team with so much talent not deliver in almost every single facet of the game.
Yeah, I get it.
It's demoralizing.
But they did for the first 5 weeks.
I know, but you just said that's the past. So to use your argument against it, it's like, what have you done for me recently? You've lost 3 games in a row.
But recently they added Chase Young.
That's true. All right. Good.
And recently coming off the bye, and recently they're getting more healthy, as you alluded to, with Deebo Samuel.
Yeah. Tell me about Deebo.
Deebo has a hairline shoulder fracture. He's been out for the last 2.5 games.
Anymore? Is it?
He's good now.
Yeah.
At least what he told to Kay Adams last week. I'm ready to go. I'm all good. And from the looks of it, on Monday, he is ready to go. Deebo Samuel logged a full practice with no harness, no protector over his shoulder. He wasn't wearing pads. I would say that. None of them were on a bonus Monday practice. But he looked good, running routes, doing all the right things, talking it up, chatting. Even the vibe in the locker room, like Deebo was there and just active and having fun. And there was no extra padding anywhere near that shoulder. So that's a good sign. I think Deebo's going to be just fine to play this week. And I think that's a really big boost to the Niners because we had this big conversation at the start of the year and even through the season. Who's more valuable, Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel? And I think the last 3 weeks have proven how valuable Deebo Samuel is to this offense.
Well, that brings us to the next question.
Yes.
Of Trent Williams, who I think is maybe the most valuable guy on the team.
Yes.
I don't know.
He is.
Because, it really seems like he is.
Yes.
So what's up with him? It's, ankle injury.
Yes.
And he got it in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm. Played through it,
which maybe he shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But what's going on with him?
Yeah, so Trent Williams did not practice yesterday, but he was present on the sideline in a hoodie and a beanie and just hanging out and stuff. I saw no noticeable limp in the locker room, no nothing like that. There was no brace on his ankle. I believe the correct marker for Trent Williams to play this week especially is Thursday. They might still rest him on Wednesday because it's usually a veteran rest day for the guys.
So you're saying if he practices Thursday, he'll play? Okay.
Yes. Thursday is their biggest day of the week for practice. That's when they do the most stuff. Wednesday is more of a work into the week. Monday is going to serve as that this week because of the bye, but Wednesday is typically more the work into the week, starting our week kind of thing, where they kind of give the veterans, Drake Greenlaw, Chris McCaffrey, Bosa sometimes, even Trent Williams, they give him that rest day,
that extra breath.
He can keep going.
Yeah.
And so I do think that Trent will play this week. But Thursday is going to be the big marker of how limited it is. If he's logging limited practice, I think it's going to be more questionable. If he logs a full practice, which I do think is possible, he'll play this week.
So what's up with I'm hearing Womack's coming back too.
Yeah, 3 players get practice windows open.
I think that could be, potentially could be very important for this team, especially with the very mediocre defensive back play.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the 3 guys coming back, or at least having their practice windows open: Samuel Womack III, second-year cornerback, and then 2 rookies, Darrell Luter Jr., cornerback, and rookie Robert Beal Jr., who is a outside linebacker, defensive line, kind of edge rusher kind of guy. But the latter 2 have not played this season yet as rookies. There's somebody to make their debut And I believe Beal is coming off the PUP while the others are coming off the IR. A couple different terminologies. Everyone has 3 weeks to be activated. I do think all 3 will be activated at some point. Maybe not Beal. Maybe Beal will sit out a couple weeks because it's going to be hard to crack this rotation, especially if he's going to be an edge or if he's going to be whatever. And I will say, pointing to, he did work with special teams and linebackers. He did not work with the defensive line on Monday, so maybe that's a hint of like where he's going to be in the NFL. But I do think that Luter and Womack especially are going to serve an actual role for this team moving forward.
I definitely think Womack will. How much special teams play do you think Womack has?
Like on special teams?
Yeah.
Like, I think he's going to feature on them for sure. I think he's good on special teams.
Yeah, I think so too.
He's very good as a gunner.
Yeah.
But I think he's a really good corner though too.
A guy we haven't talked about in a long time that I literally forgot was on IR a few weeks ago, Danny Gray. What and anything on him?
We haven't heard anything.
Yeah,
honestly.
that's what I was.
We don't see him at all. Honestly, He has that joint sprain in the shoulder. That it's usually a really like person by person injury. We haven't heard anything. That's a good question. I've not brought that up with him yet, and I plan to moving forward. But Danny Gray would be a nice speed at the ad. I don't know where he's at. But frankly, Raven McLeod is kind of their speed threat guy anyway, so I don't know if Danny even cracks that, that wide receiver rotation.
I agree. Just with all the injuries, you thought he might see some time. I thought I was going to see more Ronnie Bell, but they just ran different packages with less receivers. So
Ronnie is a better blocker though too. Danny isn't the best blocker. He's more of a speed guy,
which is not good for the Shanahan offense.
No,
if you want to make it.
You got to be a versatile all around guy.
You have to be able to block.
And
I'd say being able to block is better than being fast.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's why Ronnie Bell has a roster spot because he does it all.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important. That's why I think that having Debo back and having Trent back hopefully this week is going to be huge for this Niners offense going forward and possibly even fix their run game maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Oof.
Anyways, we got to get to a break in a second. Return to the Empire, Amil Fergoso, Nate Littlefield, Kyle Ledbetter on the 1s and 2s. We'll be back in a second predicting and previewing the rest of the Niners schedule. They got a couple tough games coming up, but we'll get to that after the break here on Sactown Sports.
All right, we are live on YouTube still.
Hi, YouTube.
Yeah. What's up, YouTube?
Tin, happy holidays.
Yo,
okay.
Love Tin.
I have thoughts on this because he put up a Christmas tree in Santa. It is November 7th. I'm a firm believer in let's not jump the gun here. Let's celebrate Thanksgiving first, and then let's go into Christmas. But I'm also in the minority on this, and I understand.
I don't know if you're in the minority. I really don't. I honestly, I know it's not true, but I feel like there's a 50-50 split.
Really?
Yeah, and honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really care that much either way. So I guess that's not a 50-50
humbug,
split.
Nate.
I know. I'm all bummed out. I'm honestly,
what happened to you?
I'm just mad. My friends made me mad today too. Just
what did they do?
Made me angry.
What did your friends do to you? I thought we were your friends.
I mean, yeah.
Nate has a life outside of here.
Yeah.
Why?
I make movies.
Why? Yeah, you guys should check out Bubbles.
Shout out Bubbles.
We got it on the VHS over here. Show the game.
VHS, the hard copy for $10.99.
Yeah, if you put that in a VHS, it will play Bubbles. Everyone on the cast and crew got that.
Yeah.
My friend, shout out Eric Reiner, my partner in crime.
Can I get a copy?
You want a VHS copy?
I would love a VHS
I think
copy.
we can.
I'm gonna put that up there and frame it.
Okay.
We can arrange.
We can
arrange that.
No, this Niners stuff. If you guys got any questions as well, drop in the YouTube chat.
Tin, yeah, ask us something.
Ask us some questions.
Oh, Tin, if you're there, I gotta apologize to Tin because
oh boy.
I hosted on Saturday. I hosted game night, and he called in, and I left him on hold, and I didn't answer. But I was too nervous.
No,
I was too nervous, and I was too distracted, and I had so many things to ask Henry. So that's my bad, Tin. But I do appreciate when you call in.
Yeah, Rockin' New Era 84. There's
Rockin'?
an evening show. There's an evening show on Tuesdays, and it's us, Return of the Empire, the Niners podcast / live show that we do during the season.
Yeah, it's these jokers fooling around.
It's us clowns. Amil Fergoso, the Niners insider, with Nate Littlefield, the 49ers fan.
So how do you guys, Rockin' asks us, how do we see the Niners defense performing this Sunday? We'll get pretty into that in the last segment, but I mean, I'm hoping I'm all right. I'll say I'm expecting a hard turnaround. I'm expecting a lockdown. Trevor Lawrence has been good. He definitely has the talent. He's not lighting it up this year. But
no.
I'm expecting the Niners to lock them down. I am worried about Travis Etienne though.
I believe the Niners will get at least 3 sacks.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a coming out.
Cleveland Farrell gets one of those.
Wow. Okay. Look at you.
And Randy Gregory. I'm just saying names now. They have so many people on that defense.
They
It's
do.
so ridiculous.
We'll come back from the break, though.
Yeah. 5 seconds.
We're coming back from the break, everybody. We're coming back from the break right now. And it's a problem, man. So I got to work on
I'm
that.
a little mean too.
I just, I'm having a hard day, and I think I'm taking it out on everyone around me. Not intentionally. I'm not really even having a hard day. Whatever.
You're just sad because the Kings and the Niners are not doing well. I understand it.
Yeah.
And again, looking at the YouTube chat, join us on the YouTube chat at Sactown Sports. Rockin' New Era 84 has a question. Does Chase Young get a sack this week against Jacksonville? I think he does, and we're going to preview that game in segment 3 of this show. We're in segment 2 though right now, and that means predicting the rest of the 2023 season for the Niners, and that's just the regular season. And I'll be the first to say I wrote this article. I wrote an article this morning, which again, check out sactownsports.com, previewing the rest of the regular season. And when I wrote this article back in July, I had the Niners going into their bye week at 5-3. And guess what? They went to their bye week at 5-3. I wasn't perfect on the losses, I will say, but I got 2 of the 3 right. Can you guess what the 2 of the 3 were, Nate?
The Bengals?
Yes.
Yeah, you missed on the Steelers.
I did.
Oh, so then it was Cleveland.
Yes.
There's no way you thought they'd lose to the Vikings.
No, never in a million years.
No.
It's primetime Kirk Cousins. Never in a million years I think primetime Kirk Cousins would beat the Niners.
Looking back at it, I kind of saw it as a trap game because Kyle struggles against the Falcons for some reason too, and I think it's like in his head because Kirk Cousins too. I think it's some homecoming deal.
Who knows? Like Kyle sees ghosts sometimes. I know the ghost of Jim Schwartz is haunting Kyle forever and ever and ever.
It haunts me too. He's not a very good-looking guy.
No, he's a great defensive coordinator.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're going to preview the Niners' rest of the schedule because they got a couple tough games coming up, and that's after 2 winnable ones. So they got Jacksonville in Week 10, and then going back home, they're playing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And Nate, that's 2 games that I really think the Niners should win.
Yeah, I think so too. I unfortunately have to watch that Buccaneers game when I'm in Utah. Yeah, I have to go to Utah. It's my grandpa's 80th birthday.
Oh.
If anyone cares.
That's so sad.
Yeah, he's getting old. He's getting old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeez, Nate.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to your grandpa. Happy early birthday to your grandpa.
Yeah, I'll let him know you said that. I'll send him this clip.
Please do.
Yeah, they should win both of these. They should. And I gotta quit harping on these past games because they should have won the past games too, the last 3. But yeah, they really should. They should really have a fire underneath them. And I think if I had to pick a game between the 2 that they should win, it should be this Jacksonville game.
I agree.
They need to get on track.
It's a must-win one, right?
And that's such a loaded word, but yes, on the surface, it feels like a must-win.
Yeah.
The whole trajectory of the season is in the balance.
It is
currently.
It is,
and it sucks going to the bye after you. Excuse me, I got a little burp going right there.
Careful.
I had a Euro earlier.
Ooh.
It sucks going to the bye on a loss, especially on 3 losses. But you really hope they can turn it around. You hope adding Chase Young is, I guess, the X factor on defense, which Nick Bosa should be that. Fred Warner should be that. Talanoa Hufanga should be that, who has not had a great season. Last week during this segment, we had Larry Krueger talk about this.
Yeah.
He says he was saying that a lot of people see Hufanga, he trains with Palomalu, and they see the hair, and they think, oh, that's Palomalu part 2, and he's just not. He's not. He's a different player.
Different kind of player, and he does have that the instinctual stuff that Palomalu had in terms of going after the quarterback and hitting the right
They see the
hole.
speed, yeah.
But his timing on tackles and like reading the defense sometimes gets a bit. He's a bit off sometimes. He's let a couple big plays happen, a couple explosives.
Notorious over his whole career so far.
He's been notorious for that. And I know Larry was even calling for Jair Brown, their rookie out of Penn State, to play a little bit. And I think Jair is a very talented guy. I don't know if it's his time just yet, but I believe he's going to be the Deshaun Gibson replacement very soon here.
And that I don't even feel like Deshaun's been that bad for the Niners, but yeah, I mean, if that's where we're at, if we need to get a spark for this fire, then I'm here for it, just to kind of work him into the defense. But
in terms of the article, in terms of the schedule, two games they should win.
2 games they should win, yeah.
And even against Tampa, I mean, last year they played the Buccaneers at home, and we all remember what happened with Tom Brady under center. Brock Purdy had a coming out party.
Worked them.
I mean, thumped them.
McCaffrey had that wild catch.
Oh my gosh, it was a crazy game.
Yeah.
In the rain, I should say, in the rain. But no, they should again come back. Yes, Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback, and he's been better than we thought for most of the year. And if not for C.J. Stroud, the rookie phenom out of Houston Texans, having a great comeback this last week, they have another win. They have their 4th win of the year, and they'd be an actual contender in the NFC South. But the Niners are still, in my opinion, a better football team, have more talent, and should be able to win this game and come out of their bye week 2-0.
So, do you want to get into? We got to get in the rest of the season.
Let's do it.
So after the Buccaneers, Thanksgiving Day. My dad's actually going to this game in Seattle, the Niners Seahawks game.
Shout out Papa Littlefield.
Shout out Andy Littlefield.
Shout out Andy.
Papa Littlefield. So that's a tough one. Short week again. Niners Seahawks. I mean, they both have a short week, but
yes,
I'm gonna go positive. I think there's a chance that the Niners can win out. I mean, obviously there's a chance. I think there's a decent chance. So like Seahawks, Eagles, Seahawks. I think the Niners will beat the Seahawks both those times.
Okay.
I think they're the balance of the season, the balance of the Niners winning the Super Bowl depends on this. That Eagles game is going to be wild. Jalen Hurts is hurt. He is moving slowly on the field.
He is.
The second half of the Cowboys game, he's limping. He's banged up for sure. You want to play him at full strength. They wanted to play us at full strength. It didn't happen. Different teams now, though. Completely different teams now.
Yeah.
Completely, but significantly different. That game is a toss-up since it's in Philly, too. I think a lot of people are going to have the Eagles, depending on where the Niners are at in that place. But I think that game's a big question mark. I've had the Rams game circled the whole season. Yeah. Or the Ravens, the Ravens game on Christmas Day.
Big game.
You'll be there covering that game Christmas Day.
I will.
That's good money.
Let's not go there.
Okay.
Let's not go there.
Okay.
Christmas 49ers football.
Yeah, that's going to be, I don't know.
Santa's going to bring me a big old check. Anyway.
I don't think I'm going to hang out with my family on that day.
Really?
Maybe just my dad.
It's a Monday.
Monday night football.
That is nice to get that extra
like John
day.
Sutcliffe.
So okay. Seahawks, Eagles, Seahawks.
Yeah.
I think Niners go 2-1 there.
Really? They lose the Eagles?
And then Cardinals, so another bird.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, you're not going to
I do think they beat the Seahawks both times, but I'm just going to vaguely put out there 2-1 there.
Okay, well, let's stop there for I have them going 1-2.
Okay.
In the Dirty Bird sandwich.
So which one so they win the Seahawks at home?
They beat the Seahawks at home. They lose to Seattle, a close game on Thanksgiving on some last minute whatever. We don't know what it's going to be, but I said they lose that game on Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Then they go to Philly, and they're still upset about the Seattle game, and they get their butts whooped probably by Philly in Lincoln Financial because it's a tough place to play. It's just a hard place to play. And the Eagles' defense is still the Eagles' defense. And if they can get to the quarterback, I think it's very possible.
Yeah, definitely. Shout out the Plukers, too, in the chat.
Yeah,
appreciate that.
Shout out to everyone in the chat.
Okay. All right. So we're on a little different page there. So another bird team, Cardinals, crush them.
Come on, let's look. Even if Kyler Murray is back to somewhat of 100%, they don't have the talent to really compete with the Niners. They just don't. I mean, Kyle, you can speak on this. What are your thoughts?
As soon as I swallow this bagel, yes. So the Arizona Cardinals, after the first 49ers game, they were ranked 16th in the NFL in offensive rating. In just the 4 weeks since then, they've played 5 games, but in the 4 weeks since then, they're now 29th in offensive rating in the league. So they have been the worst offense in the league. They're currently ranked 31st in defense. Last 4 weeks, there has been no team worse than the Cardinals.
What did they get back for Dobbs?
A 6th round pick, and I think they gave up a 7th. So like, if you follow the trade from like when they first got him to now, it was like they moved from a 5th round pick to a 6th round pick for 8 weeks of Dobbs.
So they traded back
for 8 weeks of Dobbs. At the end of it all, they got a pick back, but they gave up a 5th to get him. So it's like
YouTube chat can see me scratching my head right now. Why would you get rid of? Oh my gosh.
They essentially for 8 weeks of Dobbs moved back 1 round in day 3 of the draft.
I don't.
Whatever.
They're
in the NFC West. I like it.
Yeah, they're dysfunctional.
All right, so let's go. Let's put these two together. Cardinals, Ravens. What are you thinking there?
1-1.
1-1. So you think they lose to the Ravens?
I think it's a close game, but yeah.
On Christmas Day at Levi Stadium.
I think the Ravens are going to out-Niner the Niners on Christmas Day.
Huh.
They play like the Niners. They play so efficient.
Except at quarterback.
And Lamar. We know how the Niners struggle with
Dude.
running quarterbacks.
Shocker. They lose to the Cardinals and then they lose to the Cardinals, then beat the Ravens.
I honestly would rather have that happen.
Really? Lose to the Cardinals, but then beat the Ravens?
Yeah, because you can go, all right, fluke, that's ugly, but then beating a dominant team like that at home on Christmas Day is pretty awesome.
You kind of, it's a big statement win to beat the Ravens.
Yeah.
Especially considering they dumped the Seahawks.
I love using the excuse that when there's a divisional loss. I think divisional games are so unique. They're so weird in the NFL.
They are.
That's when the weirdest things happen.
Yeah. And they are on the road. They are going to Arizona. I will say. So weird things can happen.
Well, it's like, look at the Washington and Eagles games this year. They've been crazy. Yeah. It's like every AFC North game is usually pretty wild. Like an exception is like the Chiefs and the Broncos, but even this year, it's like the Broncos finally got the best of them.
Yeah,
and just divisional games.
Mahomes was also sick, and there was also other things.
Yeah, everyone's also sick of Mahomes too.
It's also Ayo. It's not quite the advantage you think, because I think the Cardinals are like 1-11 in their last 12 home games. Like last year, they didn't win a single game at home.
Yeah, the Red Sea is definitely parting. I'll just say that. It's not good. It's not good.
Okay, so you think 1-1? You think they? Okay, I'm gonna go 2-0 there.
Okay, that's fair.
Because I'm going to be high on the Niners right here.
That's fair.
And then I'm going to go for the next two, which are against the Commanders on New Year's Eve.
Yes.
A Sunday.
In Washington.
Chase Young, homecoming party.
Revenge game.
He gets 9 sacks.
Can you have a revenge game for a defensive lineman?
Sure.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, and then the Rams, January 7th. There's no time for that yet. But at that point, you got to think the Rams are packing it in.
Oh, yeah, they're...
it's either
maybe
they're either packing it in or playing for their lives.
They're either packing it in or they're playing out of spite, despite the Niners.
Okay, that's true.
Let me tell you, Sean McVay loves nothing more than to get one over Kyle Shanahan.
Yep,
it doesn't happen very often, and if he can do it, he'll do it.
Yeah,
the Rams are 3-6. I think they're packing it in.
I mean, probably, but
we just don't know yet.
Carson Wentz, big
I don't
game.
know.
I don't know. Weird things can happen.
Yeah, I don't think any of that's going to happen, but. Any given Sunday. Okay, so Commanders, Rams. I'm going to chalk that up for Niners win. So I think I have the Niners losing once the rest of the season.
So here to recap, Nate, the last 20 minutes.
I know, dude.
Nate came in here as pessimistic as hell and was like, it's doom and gloom. They're not going to be any good. What's wrong with my team? I hate sports. And now you're like, no, they're going to win out, except for one game.
Yeah, you are trying to convince me to be positive, though. You should be happy for me.
I am, but you make no sense.
Yeah, brutal.
You're contradicting yourself.
I think this might be why you're so up and down as a fan. It is a roller coaster.
I'm here for
emotion.
I'm here. I need to be. I just need to feel things. So I'm happy for.
Oh, careful now.
What? I know.
Do you feel joy? Like what?
No, it's good to have emotions.
It is. Look, I do think
men have feelings too.
Men's health matters.
Yes.
Anyway, I do think Chase Young does help this franchise. I really do. I think Chase Young revitalizes the defensive line and gets them working again. I think Chase Young, look, when you're secondary, especially the Niners, which is as much a weakness as it is, when you add to your defensive line and just get home and get pressure and get the quarterback uncomfortable, that's going to create more turnovers and more opportunities for your cornerbacks and your secondary to get interceptions. And I think that's what the point of this defense is, and for Steve Wilks, is to create turnover and create mistakes, because adding a strength on a strength and winning in the trenches, especially the defensive line, that's huge for the Niners. That's their bread and butter. And if they can do that with Chase Young, they'll do it.
Well, I believe by the time they played Minnesota, they were the led the team in league in interceptions.
Yeah.
So the defense did.
They do.
So I don't know if they still do.
One of the highest pressure rates too.
Yeah. So you got to think those start clicking. It's honestly similar to the Kings. It's like you got to think those shots start landing.
You would think,
or make it whatever.
It's 6 games in. It's okay.
Yeah, they just need consistency. This is not a roller coaster you want to be on. They can drop
Find
a
a
game
level.
here and there. Yeah.
No peaks and valleys.
Okay, real quick. We got to go to a break here in a minute.
Yeah,
But
we do.
do you want to talk Steve Wilkes? Do you think it's his fault?
I think it's 50-50.
Do you think it's 50-50? Okay.
I think the players aren't playing to their standards
Yeah.
because the first 5 weeks they were playing very well. And what happened? I don't know.
There's been enough mistakes that Steve Wilkes gets some of the blame for sure.
I agree. Cover zero for sure.
It's hard to deny that.
Yes.
I think maybe 65 players, 35 coaching. I'll say coaching.
Okay.
In general. But that's I just think we should touch on that. I know it's a really hot topic, the whole Steve Wilkes coaching situation, but we might not be talking about it here in a couple weeks.
Which, by the way, we're going to find out, I think, tomorrow if they're going to move him to the sideline or not. I don't think they're going to. There was no report. I think they're going to stay in the booth. Look, you saw what happened with Matt Canada when he got moved down from the booth to the sideline. They score on the first drive.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, having your coach on the sideline to pump up your guys, I think is actually a helpful thing. I really do.
Yeah.
Okay. Like D'Amico Ryans and Robert Sala were all
those
about
guys,
that.
Steve Wilkes is an older gentleman, and he doesn't look like he has that rah-rah those two have.
He's talked about how he gets too into it on the sideline. That's why he's in the booth in general.
Okay. All right. Well, let's see it then, Steve.
Bring that fire. Bring that feistiness.
Let's see it, Steve.
Come on, Steve. Steve.
All right, we got to go to break.
Anyways, we got to go to break. Return to the Empire. Milt Fergoso, Nate Littlefield. Thank you all for joining. We'll be back after this, previewing Week 10 at Jacksonville. But again, back after the break.
All right, we're still live on YouTube.
Hi, YouTube, man. It's getting bumping here.
All right,
Okay.
in honor of Tin, he brought this up earlier. He had a YouTube question of what was the highest selling NFL jersey in 2007.
Oh, I did see
Just
that.
totally unrelated.
Is it Tom Brady?
It was not Tom Brady. Tom Brady was actually 11th.
Is it Randy Moss?
It was not
That's
Randy
a good
Moss.
shout, though.
This was the list I have here is jerseys between April and July of 2007.
Okay.
I think I know who.
So
it is.
can you throw top 5 out there? 5 answers on the
I
board.
was 7, so I'm trying to think of players. Adrian Peterson.
No Adrian Peterson anywhere on the list.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know if he was drafted yet.
was he not?
This was actually his draft class, I think, because this is the Jamarcus Russell draft class.
Yeah. That what a time for me.
He was the 8th highest selling jersey in that time.
I think I know the answer. Is it Sean Alexander?
No, that's the joke I put out there. It's not Sean Alexander. He's on the list somewhere, but it's not.
Is it a
him.
quarterback?
It's a running back.
Oh.
LaDainian Tomlinson?
That's number 1.
Really?
That's number 1.
That's
So
crazy.
April to July of 07.
LT was unbelievable, though.
There's some weird ones in here. Like
That just seems a little late.
Peyton Manning is 6 below Vince Young at 5.
Vince Young, though.
Well, it's new player.
Vince
Like,
Young got
yeah.
the Madden cover, I think.
No,
next year.
this was after Vince Young's rookie season. This was after rookie of the year.
Was Vince Young, I think, on the Madden 08, I think he was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This was after his rookie
Remember
season.
the Peyton Hillis cover, and then he just disappeared.
I think he saved someone from drowning a year ago.
yeah.
Shout out Peyton Hillis. He didn't disappear. He showed up at the right moment.
A real life hero, Peyton Hillis.
Yeah. Number 2, Reggie Bush.
Steven
Number
Jackson.
3,
Steven Jackson's
That's a good
great
guess.
shout.
That's a good guess.
I was a big Action Jackson
He's a
guy.
very underrated,
Love Steven
underrated. I don't know, not talked about enough. I
Jackson. Not
guess is
talked
the
about
right.
enough at all.
Does that mean underrated? I don't know.
Sort of.
But Emil, drop your Twitter because Rockin's trying to follow you.
Oh, is he? Yeah, my
Yeah.
Twitter. It's a long one. I'm gonna put it.
Just write it in the chat.
Yeah, hold on. I gotta sign into the chat apparently.
Oh, you're signing in as Jason Ross. Oh, no, you're not.
I mean, I'm not.
Jason
do it
Ross
on your
putting
laptop?
Emil's.
Yeah, let me do it on my laptop.
It's
Hold on.
Emiliano Fergoso for people who want
It's
to
a
find it.
long chat. Hold on, I'll do it right now.
Anyways,
Nate,
we got
fill
like
time.
a minute left, so I'll ask you, Nate, since
Okay.
you're upset with my highlight choices.
Yes.
Since
Well,
there's-
they're not highlights. They're lowlights.
So there was no game last week, so I have one random highlight here. Could be
Okay.
good, could be bad.
No.
Do you want it, or do you just want to go back to the break?
See,
I
Kyle,
don't
warned
want
you
to
about
low
this.
light.
You don't even want it. You don't even want to try it.
No, I don't want to try it.
Okay.
I don't like to take risks like that. When you're risking my emotions, that's when I get hurt.
All right.
It's my feelings.
You know what, Nate? I warned Kyle before, and I said, if you play a low light, Nate will go downstairs and request you be fired.
Yeah, but I'm also not going to do that because we're so understaffed. So Kyle knows he can work me here. Kyle knows I'll be working 90 hours a week if he gets
All right,
fired.
10 seconds.
Like I have the power to do that. We're coming back from break. How?
Bow.
I don't know.
My favorite dumpling.
Welcome back to the Return of the Empire podcast.
With Amil Fergoso and Nate Littlefield.
We're back with the Star Wars theme because it's Return of the Empire, and the Empire is not marching right now, unfortunately, but they're going to try to.
It's a duel of fates.
It's a duel of fates, and there's a big fate game against a big tough opponent this week in the AFC South, leading Jacksonville Jaguars 6-2. Everyone,
Ooh, so scary.
they're a good team. They're talented.
Yeah, they're still the Jaguars.
They're still hey, they beat the Chargers.
Yeah, they'll probably be the 2 seed in the AFC.
That's sad.
I think Doug Peterson's a very good coach.
I think he's above average.
Is that okay? All right. So where do you put him?
That's a top 15 coach.
With
That's
the
like
Super Bowl.
average. It's got to be top 10 for above average.
Yeah, I think you're underestimating how many good coaches there are in the league.
Am I? Maybe I am.
Like Matt LaFleur.
Let's
might
name
still be a
coaches
top
real
10.
quick. Let's go through name who's better than him. Kyle Shanahan, Bill Belichick,
Sean McDermott,
Sean McDermott.
Honestly,
D'Amico Ryans.
Mika Ryans.
You think so?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
Mike
Mika Ryans.
Tomlin, Pete
Mike
Carroll.
Tomlin, Pete Carroll,
Mike McDaniel.
Josh McDaniel.
No. Stop that. Yes, don't. Let's not go there,
Mike
please.
McDaniel. Who else? Kyle?
John Harbaugh,
Yep, definitely.
McVay,
McVay.
and then Matt LaFleur.
No.
Zach Taylor.
Oh God, no.
The Bengals are decent.
Yeah,
but they have so much raw talent.
yeah. The best thing I can say about Zach Taylor is he hasn't driven the whole thing off a cliff yet.
Brandon Staley.
Future Raider head coach Brandon Staley.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
stop
think-
it.
I think- okay.
Stop it.
Point is, I think Doug Peterson's a top 10 coach. Because we
That's
couldn't
fair.
name 10. We
That's-
couldn't name 10.
It's hard.
We
Well,
stopped
we
at
did
9.
name 10. We just also included.
It's like naming
Oh yeah,
states.
I named Josh McDaniel. So,
Well, we also forgot about the best head coach in the NFL, which is Andy Reid.
yeah,
Wow,
That's
and
true.
and Nick Sirianni.
and Urban Meyer. I miss him.
No
dude.
comment.
Dude, I hate Urban Meyer so much. He sucks. Anyways,
Almost as much as I don't like Dennis Allen.
Kevin O'Connell.
He's actually a good coach.
all right.
Jacksonville.
Both teams are coming off a bye, Niners and Jacksonville.
That's true. They are.
I don't love that because the Niners have had to play the Bengals last week who are coming off a bye against. I feel like you should be playing a team that isn't coming off the bye to make it more fair, but I guess the schedule is really hard to make. Is what I've heard.
I've heard it's difficult.
I've heard it's difficult.
but I don't do it.
Just use AI. Just use buzzwords.
Only like 162 games, you know.
Yeah. Anyways. Antonio Pierce, someone said in the chat.
I'm a big Antonio Pierce
oh,
guy.
yeah.
We
Okay.
forgot Mike Vrabel too.
Is
I
Vrabel
think
a
that's
good
where the
coach?
I think he's a good coach. I think that's where you start to get like.
We didn't say
okay.
Brian Daboll either, did we?
There's a reason.
He was last year though. He won Coach of the Year.
Shouldn't have. Shanahan should have won it last year.
He probably should have.
Um.
Maybe D'Amico Ryan should have won
Anyways,
last year.
Jaguars, Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne.
Yeah.
I'm worried about Travis Etienne.
I would be too.
He is an explosive player.
Who does he
That
remind
actu-
you of? Travis Etienne. Little Camara-esque?
Oh man, that's a great comp. That is a great comparison. I don't know if I'm going to be able to beat that. I almost want to say like, nah, not quite Darren Sproles. Yeah, I think
Allen?
that's yeah. I think that's a great.
versatile, do-it-all kind of guy.
Com-
Can make catches, can run in
Mhm.
between tackles, really fast on the outside.
Yeah. Not quite. I mean, I don't think he's quite at the level of Kamara because Kamara did it at such a high level. For
Here,
so
I'll throw a
long.
name at you. Jamal Charles.
No, he's a
No,
little faster.
no.
Jamal's
Jamal
more of a
was different.
bruiser.
Jamal was different, dude.
More of a bruiser.
But he
Jamal-
also is a pass catcher and that kind of versatility.
I don't think
so.
Travis is on Jamal level at all. I think Jamal was a different kind of beast.
You're very high on Jamal Charles.
I watched Jamal Charles destroy my Raiders on week to week basis. As it felt like.
Surprised he never played for the Raiders.
All right, so Alvin Kamara's our winner.
I'm with
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Okay. I'm worried about Etienne because I'm worried
me.
that the Niners can't stop the run.
Yeah.
I'm more that is what is. Oof, ouch. That's not they rush 44 over 44% of their plays, which is 8th in the NFL. So they rush a lot. They're not a high-ranking rush team. They're actually a very low-ranking rush team. 24th in the league, 3.8 per carry. But they're rushing 30 times a game, and that's pretty brutal. If they're putting it on you like that, it's really tiring for your defense.
Yeah.
So there's going to be that balance of time of possession again, something I talk about week to week here. But when it comes to defensive, stopping the run on defense, they are good at it.
They are.
They average 3.6 yards per carry, which is number 4 in the NFL.
That's good.
And they are just, I mean,
Devon Hamilton, a guy you don't know a ton about as a casual, probably. Not everyone's following Jacksonville football, I understand. Devon Hamilton, a very good defensive tackle, a very good in-between guy stopping the run. And then obviously Josh Allen, Devin Lloyd, Faisad Olukan, who's a very good linebacker, kind of more of a Fred Warner kind of role, running in the middle of the field, getting tackles. Not on the level, obviously, of Fred Warner, but a very good, serviceable linebacker. They run a really good scheme there in Jacksonville. And Doug Peterson, we were talking about all the coaches. He's a good coach.
I really think he is. Obviously, Super Bowl winner, but they're also holding teams to under 80 rushing yards a game on average.
That's a stat.
So that is a stat for sure. We could say that. We could book that. I am worried about running the ball on them, but the Niners have to. They have to. They have to.
If they don't win the line of scrimmage, they're not winning this game. It's kind of that simple for them.
We're not. I mean, we can't throw the ball 40 times. We'll see what happens. It's not going to work out.
Look, they're one of their leading quarterback, Tyson Campbell, is a little banged up. He is questionable right now. I think he's going to return. Same with Andre Sisco. They're starting free safety. I think he's going to return, but that's no excuse. The Niners should be able to throw the football, but should be able to run the football against Jacksonville Jaguars, who are talented, but a little more pretenders in the AFC South than they are contenders in the AFC.
Well, they should be able to throw the ball too, like you just said, because they're only getting sacks on about 4.5% of the plays, which is second worst in the NFL.
That's not good.
So they're not getting to the quarterback. They're not finishing.
Yeah.
Taking the quarterback down. I don't have hits here, but they're not getting sacks, and we know how important that is, especially for Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy can get the ball out quick, but if he's got pressure in his face, mistakes happen.
True, but he's also going to be able to roll out and scramble, and that's going to create passing lanes for him and opening it. And I think Brock kind of found something a little bit actually though in that Week 8 loss to Cincinnati. When Brock gets mobile and uses his legs to scramble and pick up yards, that's helpful for them.
Yeah.
I think he should do more of that, frankly.
I forgot he was the leading rusher against Cincinnati.
57 yards. McCaffrey at 54.
That cannot happen again the rest of the season.
When McCaffrey needs to average 80 yards or more per game for the Niners to be successful.
Rushing.
Yes.
Rushing. Because he's got another at least 30 or 40 receiving on top of that.
Yes, typically.
So, yeah.
I think the key to this Niners game, for the Niners especially, is getting sacks and getting pressures on the defensive side of the football. The offensive line for the Jaguars is decent, but not amazing. I'm looking at Antoine Harrison, their rookie right tackle out of Oklahoma, who has been struggling this season as a rookie, and I expect Nick Bosa and Chase Young to pick on him a lot.
I think the X factor for the Niners, too, are stupid penalties.
Yeah.
Penalties. The Niners defense is horrible when it comes to giving up third downs.
Yeah,
Their third down conversion rate on defense is like 40%, which is 21st in the NFL.
That's bad.
So bad.
That's bad.
That's so bad for this team that's held to such a high standard. And I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I think a lot of those come from penalties. That's what it feels like. That's what I've seen enough to where it's significant.
Mistake-free football. That's all the Niners got to do. Just play their game and don't make mistakes. And yet, the last 3 weeks, they've shot themselves in the foot because of what? Mistakes. Yeah. Missing tackles, missing opportunities, not getting off the field on 3rd and long, which is very uncharacteristic of the Niners to let 3rd and longs happen.
They're still holding teams to 17.5 points per game, which is great. That's a great stat. And they have good stats still because they did dominate in the beginning of the season. But it's what you've done for me recently.
Yeah.
And recently they have.
What have you done for me lately? What have you done for me lately? You haven't done much. You had Chase Young.
You had a bye week. Well, I think adding Chase Young is big. On paper, it's big.
He's a big dude. I tell you, man.
Literally,
I saw him in person yesterday, and boy almighty.
I haven't asked anyone this. Is there any world where they extend him after the season, or is this just
they've talked about it.
There's a world, I think it's like 75-25.
That they do?
That they don't.
Oh, that they don't.
I think it's unlikely. But if Chase Young outperforms and becomes the guy, they will consider it.
Okay, because I was thinking about that last week. It was like very much a mood by Washington where they're like, we don't want the stress. We don't want to go through the negotiation or the extension. We'll just take the compensatory pick now.
And Chase was pretty funny about it. He was like, I ain't even worried about what they're doing over here. I don't know what they're doing. I'm part of this now. It was like, I'm so happy to not be a Commander anymore. And that's a big thing, I think, for players to get traded from Washington. And players get traded in general from bad organizations like Washington Commanders. Because they're run so poorly, they're kind of just like, we're doing whatever we're doing over here, and that's whatever. Yeah. Where when you go to the Niners, there is an expectation to be excellent every single day on the practice field, in the weight room, in the meetings. There is an attention to detail that does not get noticed by just regular media coverage.
Well, I want to talk about this briefly. I know Niners show, I say that all the time, but with Washington, like, I don't feel bad for Jack Del Rio, but I'm like, dang,
I don't feel bad for Jack Del Rio at all.
He lost his both his studs on the D line, Montez Sweat and Chase Young, overnight. And like, what are they doing over there in Washington? What are they trying to accomplish?
Let me tell you right now what they're doing. They're doing a clean sweep, baby. They're going to sweep them out. Josh Harris is going to clean house after this season. I think Eric Bieniemy becomes head coach next season.
A dust up, you might say.
A dust up, a cleanup. It's laundry day in Washington. That's going to happen.
It's laundry day in Washington.
And they're going to, Ron Rivera, Riverboat Ron, I think if he keeps playing the gambling game, I think he's going to find his way out the door pretty soon. I think Jack Del Rio is going to be also out the door as well, because they made it pretty clear it's a new day in Washington, and Josh Harris is going to pick his guys.
But Bieniemy, you get to stay and clean up our mess.
Because I think the offense has actually been successful this season. I think Sam Howell has had some very good games this season. I mean, they played very well against the Eagles. He threw 4 touchdowns against them. I just think that they're not a completely functional franchise, and that kind of lingers for a little bit.
It's last thing I want to say about them real quick. It's wild that Bieniemy has not had a head coaching gig in this time. I truly don't understand what that's about, and all his time with the Chiefs. Like, why did no one give him a shot? Didn't make sense. But
yeah,
Trevor Lawrence, we got to talk about him. How much of a threat do you see him being against the 49ers?
I like T-Law. Now, I won't say T-Law has been amazing in the NFL. He did have a little coming out last year, year 2, without Urban Meyer, with Doug Peterson taking over, which, go figure. Having an actual coach helps you.
Yeah. Coach that doesn't kick his players.
Oh gosh, don't get started with that. Look, 24 years old, Trevor Lawrence. He's a year older than I am. And he threw over almost 2,000 yards, 9 TDs, 4 interceptions, a QE rating of 60.5, which is actually 13th in the NFL, so a little bit above league average. And you'd expect it to be a little bit better. But I think because they have a very well-rounded offense, it actually kind of helps them out because they run the ball very well.
Yeah. He's 9 TD for 4 interceptions, almost 2,000 yards on the season, just under 70% completion rating. I think he's very solid. I really like their receiver core.
Yeah.
I know we were talking before the show about how they're sporadic. I'm a big Calvin Ridley fan, at least fantasy-wise, and I think he's a real threat.
Though.
I think he's a real threat. I think he's a big guy who's kind of coming into his own here to being the number one guy for the first time.
Well, let me ask you something. Are you more worried about Calvin Ridley or Christian Kirk?
I think Calvin Ridley.
Really?
I think Christian Kirk. I like Christian Kirk. When he signed that deal, Trent Baalke gave him all that money in Jacksonville and screwed up our Deebo Samuel situation a few years ago.
That's right.
Don't forget Trent Baalke. Yeah, I'm not a fan of him.
Really?
Yeah. Christian Kirk, I was like, really? They're giving that much money to this guy?
Yeah.
And I still think they overpaid him, but he has shown out for them.
Played very well last season.
He can take the top off of that defense, and that's going to be a major threat. Not only catching the ball 50 yards down the field, but having Charvarius Ward commit a penalty on him 50 yards down the field and getting that flag and getting those yards so easily. So that is a big worry for me, but I think Calvin Ridley is more the threat.
Calvin Ridley does have more yards than Christian Kirk right now, but not by much, by about 30. And Christian Kirk is actually still on pace to get close to what his total was last year, which is 1,100 receiving yards and 8 total touchdowns, which I think is pretty good for what he got paid.
Wouldn't be surprised if either one of them have a nice game, and I definitely wouldn't be surprised if Evan Ingram didn't had a good game. Really,
because they're going to put Isaiah Oliver on him.
Yeah,
which is very, very possible. But I also think they're going to put linebackers on him too. And I think when they put linebackers like Oren Burks, like Dre Greenlaw, like Fred Warner, I think it's a better matchup. I think the guy who goes in the slot, which is I think is going to be Christian Kirk, is going to have a good day because I don't think the slot's been playing very well for the Niners this season.
Evan Ingram's the rare tight end that's like a volume guy because he's going to have 100 catches this season. That's kind of weird.
That's wild.
Well,
to think about.
And that's because I don't know a lot, but I do know that Doug Peterson likes tight ends. He always has.
Yes,
he did with the Eagles.
Yes, he does.
He's kind of a tight end guy, and he's the blanket. He's the safety net for Trevor Lawrence. And now Trevor Lawrence is coming into his own, so he doesn't need that safety net all the time.
Yeah.
But he can scheme the game. Doug Peterson can scheme the game for Evan Ingram. I think all three of those guys are I think their whole offense, like all their starters, those three I just named and ETN are very troublesome for the 49ers this week.
I agree. Evan Ingram has 51 catches this season and 434 yards. No touchdowns, though. Could this be the game he gets a touchdown?
Could be. Could be. I don't want it to be.
No. Look, Evan Ingram is very serviceable, and they paid him a lot of money as well to keep him there in Jacksonville, to keep that core kind of together. I don't think Calvin Ridley's there after this season, but I do think Calvin Ridley's a talented wide receiver. So what do they do now in the moment? It's going to be, I think, more of a shootout, more of a game that bang, bang. Look at that, Nate. Get him. I think it's going to be more of a shootout in a game that comes down to one possession late in the fourth, but I do think the Niners pull away. I believe, let me pull up my little trusty schedule here. I had it 28-20 49ers.
Huh. I'll go 24-14 Niners.
Ooh, so not a shootout.
No, I mean, no. I an away game coming off the bye, I feel like, yeah, because I'm so prominent on the run game for both of these teams.
That's fair.
So I'm gonna go a 2-score win for the Niners, 24-14.
I like it. I think the Niners get at least 3 sacks, and I think they create a lot of pressures.
Who gets them?
I think Chase Young gets his first sack as a Niner.
Okay.
I think Nate Bosa gets a sack as a Niner.
And Cleveland Farrell for my sticky note.
Why not Hargrave?
Okay.
Why not Hargrave?
I thought you were going to say Drake Jackson. I'm like, I don't think he's going to play for the Niners ever again.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know. Where is he?
Look. Randy Gregory's now kind of taking his spot.
Yeah.
They're not pleased with Drake Jackson, his development this year. He's a little too inconsistent, unfortunately. I wish all the best for Drake. Great character guy, great player in general, great guy in general.
Same with Kinlaw.
Kinlaw, yeah, you'd want more from him too. He's
almost the same story between those two.
Anyways, that's it for Return of the Empire. We both have the Niners winning this week and going on their record to 6 wins, which is a good sign. But anyway, that's it for Return to the Empire this week. Amil Fergoso, Nate Littlefield, Kyle Ledbetter on the ones and twos. Thank you all for joining us on the YouTube. Thank you all for listening over the airways. And we'll be back next week, same time, hopefully recapping a Niners win for once. That'd be the goal. Anyways, until then, we'll be back. See you next week. Love you all, and goodbye.
Bang, bang, Niners. Yeah.
Yeah, glad I was able to weave that in.
That was good. YouTube chat.
Thanks
Appreciate you guys. AJ,
Ernie,
Alex, Rockin'.
The chat was, I know we didn't have a lot of viewers.
Bumping.
Which I don't expect to get a lot, but the chat was awesome
Thank
tonight.
you guys.
Chat
I try to talk to you guys and get back. So
please tell your friends.
It's honestly awesome. You don't have to. I'm just happy you're here.
Tell your friends. Follow Nate on Instagram
It's just Nate _ Littlefield. Yeah, we stay a little live after the show.
We stay a little live. Yeah,
we just hang out and chat. And I can talk about how the thing that's keeping me from being all in on Trevor Lawrence is that when he first signed his rookie contract, he converted it all to cryptocurrency as part of a deal with I think the now defunct FTX. But yeah, that's one of the things. It's like his judgment is not all there. Well, it's keeping me from being a big Trevor Lawrence guy.
Oh my gosh! Didn't Odell do the same thing?
I think so.
A couple linemen did too.
Always take physical currency.
I think Des Bryant was a big crypto
Don't do
guy,
crypto.
But
it's a little late for that.
Anyway.
Oh dang it!
And you're a Niner fan. Trey Lance was your crypto quarterback.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a shot.
No, think about it. Like his value was at its highest around like April of 2021. Yeah. No one had seen him play. They just said he had value because everyone agreed he had value. And then he crashed out around September of 22.
That's fair.
So, and then they traded him for nothing.
I don't know.
Crypto quarterback.
Anyways, guys, we appreciate you in the chat. Leave comments and questions as well on the podcast. We'll be going up after this on SactownSports.com as well. Check out content at SactownSports.com. Niners, Kings, Sac Republic, whatever your fancy is.
Amil, if people are listening to this at 7 p.m. on a Tuesday night, trust me, they know about the website.
I got to plug. I got to plug everything.
Yeah, but
read his articles. Read Emil's articles.
Yeah, Amil wrote a really good one today about The Thing. What was The Thing?
The Thing, the movie. My favorite movie from 1984.
Oh,
The
also,
Thing.
shout out Bubbles.
John Carpenter's The Thing. He wrote a whole paper on it today.
Shout out Bubbles.
Shout out Bubbles.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
You get your VHS copies at NateLittlefield.com. 1999.
Is that a real thing? Is NateLittlefield.com?
I have a website. It's not published yet.
Oh, okay.
At NateLittlefield.com, 1995.
Now I'm confused where to go. It's at NateLittlefield.com.
No, the website's not. It's not published yet. You can't buy those yet.
I'm still. So
I don't
confused.
think anybody on the planet would buy that. But
I would.
I wouldn't make you pay for it.
I would support support local artists.
Support local art.
Yeah.
Speaking of local, is a movie.
My dad is literally a local artist. He's on like PBS and stuff for his art.
Is he really?
Yeah. He's he's like boys with Jason Anderson because
what?
Oh man, I don't. Well, this is on YouTube. This is quite. It is VHS rocking. Yeah. So he runs into Jason Anderson a lot at a certain place. I'll say.
Yeah.
And he like knew him before, and I went with him to that place, and I saw him. I'm like, that's Jason Anderson. My dad's like, oh, I talk to that guy all the time. I'm like, that's like one of the biggest Kings reporters.
That's the first time you mentioned that one, Dad.
So then we had a huge conversation with him. It was awesome. Now they talk all the time, and it's really funny. It's a weird, small world.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Also, check out the other live show that me and Nate do, the True Sports Card Show on Saturdays at 10 a.m. to 11.
It's more a meal.
Nate's on it.
I'm on it sometimes.
Nate's around.
Yeah.
Nate eats bagels and has fun in the back. It's a good
Yeah.
time. But we're also talking about that sports cards and memorabilia if you're into that. You never know. But yeah, anyways, that's it for us today. We'll be back next week.
Thanks,
Love you all and
guys.
appreciate you guys. Thank you, YouTube chat. Bye.
Bye now.